How many people did he murder?
Anyway, I want to talk about Cat Blaque. We've got a video, why I said no to appearing on Jubilee Media. Now, I'm going to guess it's going to be something along the lines of, I don't want to debate my existence. But let's see. Let's have a look.
You know, there used to be a time in this country where the most American thing you could do was punch a Nazi. But since the introduction of fluoride into our water system, it seems like our bodies have become rounder, our skin softer, and our balls smaller. Instead, these days we debate the validity of the ideology and grant it a prime spot in the great...
I'll make another prediction. One of those things where it's all like, you know, one side, kill all trans people. The other side, we just want to exist. And then someone in the middle, I can't tell either of these people apart, which I don't think is ever a situation, but sure.
Marketplace of ideas. Back in the day when white nationalists like Richard Spencer...
Yeah, marketplace of ideas. There's some trans radical dog whistles going on here already. Fucking hell.
Came onto the scene, people like me said that maybe we shouldn't give white nationalism a platform. Some of the same exact platforms.
Yep, and that's lame. That shows to me that you can't combat ideas you disagree with.
Platforms that gave Richard Spencer a space to spread his ideology were central to Trump reaching young white men who overwhelmingly voted for Trump. And
well, yeah, but part of the reason was that your side had shit all to say to young white men.
many of those close to Donald Trump, like Elon Musk, very loudly espouse white nationalist ideas. So people like me had a very good reason to be concerned, but we're often pressured. And many of those close to Donald Trump, like Elon Musk.
Okay, this doesn't prove anything. Oh, all but endorse. Hang on. All but endorses. What's the actual tweet? This feels dishonest already. Why do we do this? Why? Okay, Elon Musk. All but endorses great replacement conspiracy theory, which we don't hear much of that anymore. Have a look. Let's have a look. I hate online news. This is a ContraPoints character, Justine Copycat. Musk let a graph pinned to the top of his profile on X that claimed to show how migrants are now arriving at the southern border and there are babies being born at the American mothers. I mean, is that true? That's not pushing a conspiracy theory if it's like actually the case, right? I mean, no one seems to be aware of the immense size and lightning growth of this issue. The data is misleading. Number of monthly migrant encounters at the border is always higher than US births, and besides plenty of these migrants turned away before entry. What are they backing this up? Washington Post. Okay, amazing. I'm not going to be doing this with every single stupid thing she says, to be clear. I'm being fucking paywalled, so I guess we're not going to know how this has been substantiated. How nice. Great replacement theory was when Lauren Southern was grilled about it. Yeah, this is ages ago. What do I think of Alex Jones? I thought the Sandy Hook stuff seemed pretty whack. I don't know. I don't dislike him. It's not my kind of thing, to be honest. While it's true that US migration into the US has really reached record numbers of late, blah, 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 Musk's choice to focus on this disingenuous framing somehow puts him into alignment. That's not the same. Oh my God, that's not the same fucking thing. And like, I have to go to another site where I'm paywalled out of to verify any of this. Like, always higher than US births. Like, American births as illegal immigrants. We don't know. Are these just ones that go in? I don't even fucking know. Takes advantage of chaos, maybe. I don't know. I don't have many opinions on Alex Jones. It's not gonna know him personally. Like I said, the Sandy Hook stuff seems crazy, but Institute for Strategic Dialogue. They sound cancerous as fuck, and I say that as someone who is pretty anti-extremism on both sides. Under threat. This is just. Who fucking cares about this? This is stupid. This is stupid. Like, yeah, if you slant his words in the right way and stick any fucking label onto it, then yeah, maybe he is a great replacement conspiracy theorist. Who gives a shit?
Musk very loudly espoused white nationalist ideas.
Very loudly espoused, not espoused. All but endorses, and it's because he said stuff that some of it is the same stuff that they said. Wow, how horribly dishonest to start the video off. Amazing.
So people like me had a very good reason to be concerned, but we're often pressured to reach across the table. And one of the ways that people wanted for especially bloggers and creators like myself to do that is to do these live conversation debates with people who are diametrically opposed to the things that we believe in. And not just believe in, but are. As a Black transgender woman, I've often been invited to essentially sit across from a conservative and justify my validity to them.
No, you're not justifying your validity. You might be justifying the validity of you being a male that is claiming to be a woman. You're not discussing your own validity. Like, you exist. You're in front of them. Obviously, you are what you are. It's just that there's a difference of opinion as to whether you're a woman or not. Bearing in mind you were literally born male. Like, what are you talking about? This is just reframing thing. Like, we talk about dishonest framing about like what Elon Musk has been saying. You're doing the same thing, just from a different direction about a different thing.
And interestingly enough, I was recently invited on a very, very popular YouTube channel whose entire shtick is doing just that. And in this video, we're going to talk about why I'm not going to do that and why I'm done reaching across the table. But I am getting ahead of myself. Hi, my name is Kat Blaque. And I like to think that I make content for introspective hot people. And if you're here, I'll assume that's you. And if you're brand new here, you know exactly what to do if this video pleases you. Click my button and join us right here on the channel. So I have been mostly familiar with Jubilee's channel through clips that I've seen on TikTok. I have not seen a full Jubilee video, but I was recently contacted by a Jubilee producer and they wanted me to come on for one of their episodes where it's like one person surrounded by a bunch of other people. The request I got was for their series Surrounded, and I was invited to an episode called One Detransitioner versus 25 Trans People. Now, if I had to guess, I would probably guess that the detransitioner who is going to end up in this video is probably going to be a very popular right-wing speaker, and they're most likely going to definitely be a white person who now identifies as a
white. She's like kind of racist. Why are we? I don't know. I don't understand this shit, man. It's fine as long as you're shitting on white people. Amazing. Who's obsessed with race again? It doesn't seem like it's the white people. It seems like it's you, bro.
Woman, because that is kind of who conservatives really like to focus on, people who were once trans masculine and also white, because they like to sort of make this argument that the trans agenda damaged the body of somebody who...
Is Abigail Schreier even a conservative? I don't know. Like, does she look at these things and like make sure that this lines up with her fucking her shit? Why is it racist to constantly talk about race? It's pretty racist. Do I have a Substack? I do not. Yeah, it's interesting. What does she feel about detransitions? Maybe I should search her channel.
Frankly could have been a viable mother to a white child. I could have said that with a lot more grace, but that's frankly what it is. To focus on people who were once trans masculine and also white, because they like to...
That's what conservatives want to focus on.
Sort of make this argument that the trans agenda damaged the body of somebody who frankly could...
I do not believe for a second that that is what this book is about. Like, yeah. We're fucking up kids like this. Like, Jesus Christ. Chloe Cole is Hispanic, fair enough. This is what I mean. This is fucking racist. Don't even know what the races of the people you're fucking shitting on are. And you clearly don't care about the bad things that happen to them because you're misrepresenting the fuck out of their stories.
Could have been a viable mother to a white child.
To a white child. This person is racist. I don't care. I don't care. This person is literally fucking racist as shit.
I could have said that with a lot more grace.
You can ask me questions, but this person is racist and I don't care.
But that's frankly what it is. Like,
no, you're just lying. You're just lying. Yeah, like Abigail Schreier, though. Like, is she a conservative? Like, specifically, I know TERFs aren't generally. You probably get some that are.
let's just be realistic about it. That's quite literally what it is. And here's the thing. Like I said, have not seen a ton of Jubilee content, but something I've noticed about a lot of Jubilee videos is that quite frequently they have one very popular right-wing presenter or speaker and several people.
She's not even right about this. They did one with Density as the person in the middle. He's not right-wing. The people around him were right-wing. So she can't even get this right. Jesus.
People who are like college students or maybe even like other content creators who don't have the same degree of media training. And you know what? I'm familiar with this particular format because it's the same format that popped up during the anti-SJW era of YouTube. I was very much a center figure of the anti-SJW YouTube era because people quite frequently used me for response content. And back then, a lot of Ben Shapiro's videos were taking off. In fact, a lot of people were inspired by Ben Shapiro's content. And a lot of his videos back then were just videos of him at college campuses debating with college students. It always sort of seemed like low-hanging fruit to me in a lot of ways. And frankly, what I observed...
Yeah, it kind of is. I don't really see the comparison of like debate broing college students to debating like a bunch of people around you who might be less famous than you. I mean, presumably, you know, you talk about media training, but they get the same 24 hours in a day to do whatever research they want and sort their points out, you know what I mean? You got into beef with Blair White a lot. That does not surprise me. Probably thinks Blair White is white as well.
Of a lot of Ben Shapiro's stuff is that he has this way of just speaking really fast and speaking very confidently. And if you're a person who doesn't do that, it's hard to keep up with.
This is cope. Yeah, people talk fast. So fucking listen. Or ask them to repeat if you missed something. This is cope. The whole, oh, you just talk fast to confound people. I think it's probably more likely that you have a listening problem, if that's what you think. I'm sorry.
Speaking really fast and speaking very confidently. And if you're a person who doesn't do that...
This is literally what fucking conservatives that debate Density used to say about him. It's funny how propaganda works exactly the same no matter which way it's going, right? Jesus Christ.
It's hard to keep up with that. And more often than not, I sort of...
It might be hard for you to keep up with that. What that suggests is that you're not good at this, and maybe you were right not to go on Jubilee Media, quite frankly.
See a lot of the videos where he is successfully debating as videos where he's just frankly better at speaking, if that makes any sense. I'm aware of the fact...
Let's see an example. Let's see an example. You're not going to give one, are you? You're going to continue talking, not showing an example? Because really, all these dipshits are going to believe anything you say. Literally anything. You can say anything and these people will eat it up. Which is a shame because you're talking shit.
That there is actually a surrounded episode featuring Ben Shapiro. My theory is that Jubilee is...
It's a conspiracy. Or maybe Ben Shapiro is still a popular figure in right-wing media? Don't know.
Kind of like a right-wing situation, right? It seems strange to me that they always have access to like an endless stream of right-wing presenters, but when they have people on the other end, it's always people who frankly don't speak about this for a living and probably aren't going to be as good at making the arguments.
Wait. Like I said, they had Destiny on as a liberal version of that. Isn't that like what he does? What is she talking about? This came out 5 days ago. I've been bridging the political divide for long enough. How? What have you done to bridge the political divide? And we see where that's led us. It's the same thing. Again, it's always the same talking points. It doesn't matter whether it's some dipshit like Tara J at the very bottom of the ladder or someone like Cat Blaque at the very top of the ladder, it's the same shit. It doesn't magically become deep or meaningful because it's fucking Cat Blaque saying it in front of large amounts of morons, as opposed to Tara J saying it in front of a small amount of morons. It's still a dumb talking point, and it means nothing. Maybe she's going to show more of what she's actually done personally. I mean, I'm scanning through. I'm not seeing many video clips of her, like, having conversations with people, trying to, like, reach people. You know what I mean? What's she been doing to bridge the political divide? She hasn't got long, because I'm going to get very, very impatient with this very quickly.
Like I said, I've only seen a limited amount of Jubilee content, so maybe that's not true. What frustrates me about Jubilee...
And she hasn't even seen much of it. So you make these, like, assertions based on having seen a handful of videos and ignoring, like, left-wing figures that also do basically the same shit as the right-wing figures from the other side that actually have been on there. That's insane. Takes a certain temperament and being good at speaking to debate. Yeah, true. I'm not familiar with this person's content, but all the whining about debate being about speaking fast is nasty cope. Yes, I fully agree. This is weak. This is embarrassing, quite frankly.
Is that everything that's kind of like this, it likes to entertain the premise that these two sides are just as valuable, make just... seen a limited amount of Jubilee content, so maybe that's not true. What frustrates me about Jubilee is that...
No, listen to this. She's going to say she hasn't actually seen much of their content, and then go straight on to making more, like, assertions about what their content is. When you, by your own admission, have not seen much of it, and have rather conveniently ignored where liberal figures, like, literally the ones sat in the middle. Crazy. She's just making this up. You see a few things, you get the instant, you know, the programming kicks in, oh, this is just that. Oh, this is just that. And then you make a fucking 20-minute video about it. It's called arrogance. Because your fucking fan base is stupid enough that they'll listen to you.
Everything that's kind of like this, it likes to entertain the premise that these two sides are just as valuable, make just as good points. And the reality is that is...
Well, I mean, in terms of political power, like, they're roughly as valuable because generally the Dems win sometimes, the Conservatives, fucking Republicans win other times. So yeah, they have roughly about as much, like, influence. So having the debate between those two sides kind of makes sense, right? Treating them as the same makes sense.
Is not true. To me, the idea of needing to hear Richard Spencer out was always...
Why are we talking about Richard Spencer?
About introducing, in a widespread way, white nationalism into this country.
Then denounce it well enough that people won't listen to it. If you talk to someone like this, which it looks like you haven't, bridging the political divide, again, I ask how? Like, what have you done? What have you done to combat the rise of fucking white nationalism? Have you spoken to him? Have you pushed back against his talking points?
Normalizing it to the point where people who would not consider themselves to be white nationalists suddenly now feel as though white nationalists may have some decent points. Jubilee...
Yeah, and I bet plenty of white nationalists have also grown to denounce white nationalism. Doesn't it kind of go both ways? What these people love to do, they seem to think that platforming people, all that can ever happen, like let's say you platform Richard Spencer, all that can happen is you risk your audience becoming alt-righters or white nationalists or whatever. It can never happen the other way round. For some reason, you can never convince any of their audience. And, you know, somehow clearly being smarter and better than them at arguing your points somehow doesn't do anything. It only works one way, and that's utterly ridiculous. People go from being not racist to being racist. People go the other way. That's how it works. And this person, I don't think, gives the slightest shit what causes that kind of thing. Because that would be to try and actually start understanding the other side and actually be able to take them on. You have to be able to understand the other side. And she doesn't.
Likes to act like these two sides are the same. And they're not. They don't have the same degree of power. They don't have the same degree of ability.
Wait, they don't have the same degree of power. but they're kind of represented by two parties that seem to kind of interchange fairly often. Like if you were to measure it over the last however many years, the split has probably been fairly equal to how often it's been a Democrat government and a Republican government. So this just doesn't make sense to me. Am I missing something? I hate gaslighting myself because this person has like a massive following. But this is just, every fiber in my body is like screaming at me that this is utter bullshit and this person is just fucking coping. This is just propaganda.
Ability to oppress. No matter how many men wanted to debate with women about the state of feminism back in the aughts and the 2010s, women right now have effectively lost the ability to control their own bodies.
Oh, because of abortion. Oh, because abortions are more hard to get in some states. Women have lost the ability to govern their own bodies. Meet the Ninja Turtles in Hero Wars. What's it called? Bodily autonomy. It's because of abortion. That's the only reason she thinks this. Maybe she's going to think that, you know, whatever happens under Trump and trans also construes that. I don't know, what's the word? Whatever the word is, that. Anyway.
That's the reality of it. The power has always been in their hands. And right now we're seeing people desperately.
This is victim mentality. You could have lots of power if you want. You've got a fucking massive audience, like I said. You still get okay views, like 124K, that's good.
Argue that power should remain in the hands of white men. So we can't pretend.
Oh, she's just, oh no. The left don't interview anyone who disagrees. True. Well, I mean, you get some leftist figures that talk to other people. The problem is, you've got one who's half decent, who's Destiny, who is, you know, divisive at best. And then everyone else who followed in his footsteps fucking sucks. Vorsh sucks. I don't care what you think of Vorsh. Whether you think he's a good debater, I don't think he's a good debater. I think he fucking sucks. Xander Howell, Alec Gunter, I've talked to. Utter moron. Like, who else is there? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Women right now have effectively lost the ability to control their own bodies. That's the reality of it. The power has always been in their hands. And right now we're seeing people
She's talking about abortion. She does not have a single other example than abortion. But hey, we have to pretend that this is just like when women were not allowed to own property or vote or drive cars or walk down the street or anything else. We have to pretend that we live in the kind of era where women were actually very oppressed. Instead of, oh, they can't have abortions.
Desperately argue that power should remain in the hands of white men. So we can't pretend that these things are the same. We can't pretend that these positions are equitable because they're not. And what aggravates me about this shit is right now.
Yeah, they're not because Cat Black says so. State-bound diversity programs. Let's see how this is, whatever the fuck she's been saying. It's in a red state, yeah. The Republicans have more power in red states. That's kind of how it works, you utter mong.
Right now, people are pulling language out of universities. I'm going to read you a list.
Oh no! Haven't people in universities also been fucking indoctrinating the fuck out of other people for like a long time? Destiny sex tape. I don't know. I'm not interested in that weird shit. You know, good luck to him. Good luck to the butt plug that is somewhere in his anatomy and has been for many years. I don't want to know. It's just gross, man.
These are words that are being banned on the university level. Equity, equitable, inclusive, inclusion, safe space, by POC, implicit bias.
See, if she had any semblance of a brain inside that skull, she'd probably think that maybe this is the culture swinging back because people are sick of some of this shit. People are sick of, like, inclusivity, which is bullshit. Inclusivity is its own paradox. When people start trying to be inclusive, they end up excluding people even more than just whatever the normal shit that isn't inclusive is. It's a complete bullshit fucking argument.
Equity, equitable, inclusive, inclusion, safe space, by POC, implicit bias, intersectionality, anti-racist.
I mean, intersectionality is a fucking scourge.
Oppression, gender identity.
Anti-racist usually means you're even more racist than racist people. Gender identity is a made-up concept that the reason we have it is because we want there to be like a flattering reason as to why we're trans, and a reason that sounds innate, even though actually how it works is you just call yourself a thing and you're a thing.
Identity. LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, non-binary, decolonized, colonizer, marginalized.
Non-binary, again, just something you call yourself, and we attach importance to it because, I don't know, for some reason we need to hear people's coming out stories about how they decided to start calling themselves non-binary instead of female or male. Wow.
Underserved, microaggression, whiteness, anti-colonialism, institutional racism, systemic racism, white privilege, white fragility, social justice, bias, race.
Yeah, the thing is with abortion, I don't actually support bans. But when these people talk about women losing their bodily autonomy, that's all they're talking about, is just abortion. And it's even more gross when they don't just say it. Like when they pretend that this is a widespread issue covering lots of different things, you know? And the thing is, like, I'm against this as well. I don't like censorship. But it's the culture, like, swinging back. What do you think's going to happen? People are sick of this. We push for things like trans kids that people don't want. And now it's not just going to be the parts that they don't want that are going to start getting eroded by the backlash. It's all of it. And this is partly your fault. I'm sorry to say, Cat Black. What have you done to bridge the political divide? I think you're lying. I think you've always been the person that you are now, saying we see where that's led us. And things have only gotten worse and worse. This whole radical thing doesn't work. This bizarre, like, bastardization of feminism is dumb because we're saying that males can be female. And that's the least feminist thing you can ever say in your life.
Racism, minority, Latino. So we had all these debates way back in the day about how we need to see both sides and how we need to entertain somebody else's perspective. And maybe we should listen to the racist. Maybe we should listen to the...
That's not what seeing both sides means.
White supremacist, right? And
That's not what seeing both sides means. How many Republicans are actually fucking white supremacists? Fuck me. It's like, here's the concept. Here's the most extreme version of that concept possible. Oh, it's gross. It's gross.
That is if something like this would never happen. It's almost as if the entire premise was flawed. It's almost as if we can look at our history and see that shit like this.
They made a huge deal about abortion during the election, conveniently leaving out the fact that neither Trump nor Kamala could do shit about it. Yeah, it's another, what is it? It's another wedge issue or whatever. And also, people like to call themselves feminists when literally the only thing they ever talk about in terms of women's issues is, like, abortion. And then they'll be pro-trans and throw the women under the bus anyway, because that's what pro-trans is in 2024, I guess. Meaning that I am proudly anti-trans. You should become anti-trans like me. You should subscribe to my channel. You should check out the links in my description. You can support my channel on Streamlabs. You can super chat. You can check out my music. You can buy it. You can stream it on Spotify. And I have a Discord. You can check that out too.
Could happen. Is going to happen. It's almost as if we currently live in a country where they're trying to take away that education so that the people don't know how to protect themselves and how to watch out for what's to come. Can look at our
What education?
history and see that shit like this could happen, is going to happen.
What is she talking about?
Debates way back in the day about how we need to see both sides and how we need to...
Like, did she do debates back in the day? Not seeing an abundance of results for what I just typed. Who did she used to talk to? Who did she used to... Oh, based. I like the offensive tranny, by the way. You should subscribe to him. And also subscribe to the Marichu. Who has she talked to? Who has she been trying to bridge the gap with? She's full of shit. I almost don't want to watch another second of this because it just feels like it's entirely built on a lie. Like, is that what you do to be trans and get large amounts of subscribers? Just lie to people? Like, that disgusts me.
entertain somebody else's perspective, and maybe we should listen to the racist. Maybe we should listen to the white supremacist, right? And we did that as if something like this would never happen. It's almost as if the entire premise was flawed. It's almost as if we can look at our history and see.
Is she trying to suggest that hearing other perspectives is how World War II happened? Like, really? Hitler was a fucking crazy guy. Hitler is someone that you're not gonna get another fucking... You're not gonna get another Hitler just like that. There aren't thousands of them waiting to fucking take over the world. This is preposterous. No one, she just fuels political divide and calls it bridging the gap. Yep, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. He definitely bridged some gaps in the Vosh. Oh my god.
See that shit like this could happen. It's going to happen. It's almost as if we...
Shit like this. Oh yeah, the where we pretend that we're massively oppressed and all about to be murdered. So we'd better all beg other people for money so that we can flee our red states, waste their money, moving somewhere that you might hate even more and realize that you fucked up. That's if you even get the money, because most of them won't. But hey.
You currently live in a country where they're trying to take away that education so that the people don't know how to protect themselves and how to watch out for what's to come. The reality is...
What is she even saying there? Literally thousands of Hitler. Yeah, probably with the surname. Yeah, that's not quite what I mean. What's she even saying there? Like, this is what I mean. Like, show an example. But she just says crazy shit and then moves on to the next thing. And once again, listen, I'll harp on. I do that all the time fucking anyway, so get over it. This is why. This is why. This is all you need. You can fill people's heads full of shit. And they will thank you for it. They will thank you for lying to them. Thank you so much, Cat Black. Thank you for lying to me. Thank you for misleading me so badly. Thank you for completely obscuring the actual problem, which has been staring at me the whole time I've been watching this video.
They're going to move to silence people like me. The reality...
Who's they? Are we talking about Jews or someone else? I'm going to assume Jews until she says otherwise, because it's trendy to hate on them right now.
Is them trying to do that in Texas at the university level is just going to be ground zero for them silencing speech federally.
As if this side has never been for silencing speech, such as calling a male person a male. How would this person react if you called them a male? Would they be okay with that? What about all the trans people that aren't okay with that? Are they not trying to silence speech? Wasn't there German radio DJs that are now dealing with some kind of legal shit that could put them in jail because they spoke and because they called someone something they didn't want to be called despite it being factually accurate in some way? Bizarre. I don't know how she can fucking do this with a straight face. How is she not smiling? How is she not grinning here? Performing the angry black woman trope. Yep.
Everywhere. I know I said...
And I've never met a black woman that acts like this anyway, so I don't know.
This in my last video, but I've been really liberated because of this election, because I've spent so much time trying to talk to people about this, and people didn't listen, and I got harassed for it. The same motherfuckers who wait...
You got harassed for it? Jesus Christ. Does anyone that talks about politics on the internet not get harassed by the other side? I'm not saying it's okay. It's bullshit. People shouldn't experience it. But we always just have to, like, maximize the victimhood. You know what I mean? I hate it. It's why I find all these people so fucking dour, and why I can't stand to be around almost any trans people. Because they all sound like this. They're all zombies. And she's just a zombie with a bit more fucking clout than your average zombie. There's not much difference.
Way back when, joined in on harassment with me, are the same motherfuckers rubbing shoulders with Trump right now, eager to claim, I guess, what they think is their destiny as white men. But back then they would have said, oh, racism is a thing of the past. Racism doesn't exist.
Who are we even talking about now?
In this country anymore. During a time where Donald Trump...
Who's saying that? Who's saying there's no racism? I think there's plenty of racism. The problem is some of it comes from your side. Some of it's coming from you.
Trump and his ilk are trying to remove words like racism and equity from...
New definition of harassment is anyone that disagrees with me. True.
Schools. Who benefits from that? And this is the issue that I have with the Jubilee bullshit. What I know, this Jubilee video that
benefits from your school being fucking vectors for misinformation and indoctrination into thought cults.
was invited to be in really is an opportunity to have a rational person who rejected transgenderism surrounded by a bunch of unhinged, crazy trannies who are
Yeah, it's because we're all fucking unhinged. You're unhinged too.
very obviously not happy in their lives. Do you know why I reject the premise of this one D-trans versus 25 trans people video? Because it seeks to ask the question, is being transgender something at all?
What's wrong with that? That's what I've been asking the whole time. What even is this? Is it just males dressing up a certain way, taking things and having surgeries that change their bodies to closer mimic womanhood? How does a male take on womanhood? What is womanhood that means that a male can take it on? We need to pin some of this shit down. What you've tried to do is make a rights movement out of something that's basically not defined whatsoever as anything. Because what we actually want is just for people to call themselves a thing.
Is it something that people should do? Is it something that is valid? Is it something that should exist? And I know that.
See, I think I'm not using this as a criticism on her. I think asking whether trans should exist is a stupid question. If someone wants to do something, they're probably going to do it. So I guess whether it should exist or not is completely irrelevant. That doesn't mean we shouldn't question what it is and why it's like swept like the public consciousness so much.
I live very happily in my body.
Yeah, you want to keep the delusion. You want to keep the delusion. You're worried that you might realize that it's bullshit. You know? Whereas this way, you can just fucking you've got so many people to feed your fucking delusion for you. You don't ever have to come out of it because you've elevated yourself above everyone else.
There's no question that I have at all about that. Transition was not a mistake that I made. Transition was not something that I will ever regret.
Keep telling yourself that. You know what a real person who is probably never going to regret their transition says? They don't say any of that shit. They're just, I'm just me. I'm just happy as I am. And I don't care if I'm a woman or a man or a male or a female or a trans woman or not a trans anything. I just don't give a fuck. I just want to carry on living my life. I don't have to tell people constantly, I'm never going to transition. I'm never going to regret doing this. Some people do. That's part of the problem, is that people have different experiences. But you want to have it both ways. Everyone's experience is different, so you can't really pin down what trans is or anything. But also, if someone detransitions, well, everyone's experience is just different. They just didn't have the good experience, I guess. Nice. Get under the... Listen, detransitioners. Are there any detransitioners in chat right now? Get under the bus. Cat Black said so.
Transition saved my life. Access to gender-affirming care saved my life.
Saved your life. Wow. Fucking... Why don't I just be like, oh my god, MCR saved my life? Because that's what you sound like right now. What does that even mean? That's just a platitude.
Life, to the point where I don't even really think about being transgender in my daily life. If I didn't have a fucking YouTube channel, I would never talk about it. And so sometimes it annoys me that I can exist in my body so happily, but people still think it's worthy of debate. As though...
Are they saying that you existing happily, which keep telling yourself that, by the way, are they saying that that's what the debate is? What are they actually asking about?
I'm not living proof of the fact that people can transition, live happily, and live relatively normal, well-adjusted.
That isn't really the question. No one's saying no one can live a happy life being trans. And if they are saying that, they're stupid.
Lives. Yes, I am a weirdo in some ways, but I live the same life most people do in this country. I work, I pay my taxes.
No, you don't. You're a fucking content creator. No, you don't. You're going to say, I'm just existing. I'm just trying to live my life. No, you're not. You're telling people what to think. How can you say that you're just trying to live your life when you're going around telling people what to think? That's why I don't say that about myself, because it's bullshit. It will be bullshit if I were to say so.
Taxes, I go out, I love, I eat. And these debates have always been about getting me in front of somebody who doesn't believe in my humanity and getting me to judge.
Doesn't believe in your humanity. What are you talking about? You're just, this is stupid. I'm not watching anymore. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. This person knows that she has no actual arguments against the fact that she's a male. So we get out every trick in the book, every excuse in the book in order to duck that debate. If you don't want to go on Jubilee, why not just not go on fucking Jubilee? Sorry, not for me. I'll do something else. Why make this shitty video about it? This is cringe. This is the most cringe thing I've seen in a decent while. Anyway, that was Cat Black. Fuck that shit. Terrible not being honest with us. And I don't like dishonesty. If trans was that fucking great, we shouldn't have to lie about it.